Hello friends. So today in this video we are going to see what are the grammar school selection exam syllabus. So the grammar school selection exams, commonly known as the 11 plus exam, is designed to assess the academic ability of students in their final year of primary school, which is generally year 6 and at the age of 10 to 11. Their exam determines whether they can gain the entry into a grammar school or not. The syllabus for 11 plus exam is not standardized across the UK, as the exam structure varies depending on the region and the local education authority as well as into the school criteria. However, the key area which are tested in these schools are quite similar across all the grammar schools for entry exams. So the main components for which 11 plus exam is going to be is in English, mathematics, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning. We have seen that the different reason and the schools may prioritize or combine these different components in a different way, like giving less questions in certain paper or giving more questions from one area, or some of them are skipping completely some of the components, but they are the core area of assessments. Let's have a look what are the two different type of exam variations in grammar school. So while above these four components remain common, the actual content of the exam can definitely vary by region as we spoke about. Some of the grammar schools or local authority may focus more heavily on verbal and non-verbal reasoning, like in case of New State would, while some other schools may place greater emphasis on the English and mathematics, like in case of Sutton or in case of New State, uh, the Bexley School or Henrietta Barnett School. So let's have a look. What are the two different type of exams which are conducted? So the very first one is CEM, which is Center for Evaluation and Monitoring. These exams are used by the many grammar schools and are known for their emphasis on problem solving and reasoning skills, including verbal and non-verbal reasoning. Plus, they have the shorter English and math section. The other type of assessment is a GL assessment, where these exams may have a separate paper for each different subjects, like in a case of Kent exam. So they have the English, maths, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning, and follow a more structural format with a strong focus on traditional subject area. Now, let's look what are the English subject topics are. So the English section of the 11 plus assessment includes reading comprehension, grammar vocab, and writing skills. These questions are designed to test students' knowledge of language and their ability to understand and interpret text. The very first one is reading comprehension, wherein students read a passage of the text and answer question based on it. These questions may be focused on identifying key ideas, inferring meaning, understanding the characters and settings, and interpreting vocabs in context. There are other topics like grammar and punctuation. So they more focus on the correct use of grammar and punctuations. And these topics may also include sentence structures, part of a speech, like noun, verbs, adjective, adverbs, etc., and the correct punctuation, like commas, apostrophe, etc. And obviously the tense. They also check the spelling. So students are given a test on their ability to spell word correctly. Sometimes this is in the form of multiple choice questions where they choose to correctly spell the word. There are few other topics within English. Let's have a look. So the vocab is another important part wherein in this particular section they assess the child's knowledge of synonyms, antonyms, and the definition of the word. Last but not the least is the writing one. So in some of the exams they also have the writing skills, but which is less common in a grammar schools. So where they ask to write a short essay or piece of creative writing to assess their composition skill. Like in case of Kent exam, they have a creative writing examination, and this is less common and mainly found in an independent grammar school kind of scenario, wherein they use this particular test to further decide on selection process. Now going into the maths syllabus, let's see what they cover. So the mathematics section is focused on key topics that are part of the year 5 and early year 6 national curriculum for the primary schools, but the questions may be more challenging and you may find they are not taught into the school, but basically they are designed to test a deeper understanding of these concepts. So let's have a look what these topics are. So the number and arithmetic, the basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division operations, fraction, decimals, percentages, factors, multiples, and prime numbers, place value, face value, and the number sequences. Then uh, let's have a look into the algebra side. So the basic algebra options, expressions, and solving simple equations. We also do see that they add geometry and measure related problems. So shapes and their properties, all the 2D and 3D shapes basically. They also ask about the angles to find out in a different shapes. If we go into the next content, they also give a questions around the data handling, wherein reading and interpreting charts, graphs, tables. They also ask question about the mean, median, and mode. Not only that, they also give a question on word problem as well. So applying maths to solve real world problems in terms of word problems, and they often are multi-step questions that requires reasoning and logic. Now let's have a look what are the verbal reasoning syllabus are. So the verbal reasoning test mainly focus on assessing a child's ability to think logically and understand the language structures. It is not directly taught into the state schools, but it's used as a measure to understand the cognitive ability and reasoning skills of a child. So generally they cover word analogies, wherein finding relationship between words. Then they also use word codes, wherein we need to solve the puzzle where letters and numbers represent certain words or letter, and then based on that they ask to find the code for another word. Then we have the synonym and antonyms, wherein we need to identify words that are similar or opposite in a meaning. They also give odd one out type of question, wherein finding the word or number that doesn't fit within the group or pattern which is already given. They also add age logic. So these questions provide information about someone's age and ask to compare age with a different person or different point in time. The word pattern, which is like re-engineering letters to form words or identifying missing letter to complete a specific word. They also give questions from hidden word challenges, wherein in this type of questions the ask is to identify the hidden words by carefully analyzing the letter or pattern within the given text. And last but not the least is series and sequences, wherein they ask in this type of questions to identify the hidden numbers by carefully analyzing the logical representation or sequence in the given number or pattern. Now let's have a look into the nonverbal reasoning syllabus. So non-verbal reasoning syllabus involves solving problem using verbal and spatial reasoning. These section test a student's ability to understand, analyze visual information and patterns without relying on specific language. Similar to verbal reasoning, we do have similar problems into the non-verbal reasoning. So something like shape sequences, wherein identifying the next shape in a sequence or a pattern based on some rotation, reflections, or transformation logic. Then they also ask to identify the pattern, wherein the ask is to recognize and complete the pattern on sequences in a set of shape or figures given. Analogy within shapes, wherein we need to find the relationship between the shapes, identifying transformations like this shape turns into that shape. Then 2D and 3D relationships, wherein 2D and 3D shapes are given and then they ask to identify the relationship between those two. Then we have the matching shapes, wherein we need to identify the shape that fits into a series of options or in a given pattern, like completing a puzzle by selecting the correct piece. Then similar to that, there is a hidden shape, wherein challenge in these type of question is to identify the hidden shapes by carefully analyzing the shape or pattern within the given shape. Matrices, wherein 2 cross 2 or 3 cross 3 grid is given and the task is to identify the pattern or rule governing the relationship between all these items and they ask to fill the missing part. Series and sequences, wherein the ask is in this type of question is to identify the hidden shape by carefully analyzing the logical representation or sequence in a given